Argus. Argus. Sally's class was doing a science project. Mrs. Hanshaw handed out the eggs. Mine looks different, said Sally. Now, Sally, said Mrs. Hanshaw, don't be difficult. Some eggs just look different. The children kept their eggs warm in a brand new desktop incubators. Soon the hatching began. I see a break, one boy shouted. I see one too, the girl next to him called out. Sally's egg wobbled, a tiny crack appeared, then another, something poked out of a little bit of shell. Is that a break? One boy asked Sally. I don't think so, said Sally. The cracks in Sally's eggs whined slowly through something emerged. It was green and scaly and it had big yellow eyes. Mine looks different, said Sally. The other students gathered round to look. Aww, they said. Now, children, said Mrs. Hanshaw, don't be difficult. Some chicks just look different, that's all. Sally named her chick Argus. That does not look like a baby chicken. The class weighed and measured all their chicks. They took new measurements every day. Then they made line graphs showing results of all the other children's graphs. Showed small, neat, digital lines. Sally's graph didn't. I think that's Sally's. Next, the children drew pictures of their chicks to post on the wall. All of the other children's were cute and yellow, very much unlike Sally's picture, wasn't. She needed to use 2 pages. Good work, children, said Mrs. Hanshaw. Now let's investigate what our chicks like to eat. Mine likes seeds, said one boy. Mine likes beetles, said another. Mine is trying to eat the other chicks, said Sally. Mrs. Hanshaw rushed over to rescue them. As the days passed, the chicks grew bigger. August was the biggest of them all. He stopped trying to eat the other chicks. He started trying to eat the children instead. Mrs. Hanshaw, said the children. The children complained. Mrs. Hanshaw rushed over and rescued the children. The students began taking their chicks outside to peck in the grass at recess. Argus wasn't very good at pecking. He chewed giant holes in the ground with his teeth. The other chicks fell into it. Mrs. Hanshaw, the other children complained. Mrs. Hanshaw rushed over and rescued the chicks. Sally and Argus had to move to a different part of the grass. Later that afternoon, Sally walked up to Mrs. Hanshaw. I don't think my chick is working out, she said quietly. Now, Sally, said Mrs. Hanshaw, don't be difficult. Just go ahead and mark your chick's height on the wall with yellow strings. The other children knelt down to mark their chicks' heights. Sally had to use a step ladder. Go. The next day at recess, Sally led August to a special area Mrs. Hanshaw had marked off with orange cones for safety. Sally sat down and watched the other chicks. They were all the same, cute, small, feathery, and fluffy. The children chased them around, picking them up and petting their soft little heads. Sally couldn't even reach August's head, even if unless he was lying down. The bell rang for the end of recess. Sally sighed. She turned around to get August. He wasn't there. Sally looked all around the schoolyard. She ran to the gate and looked up and down the street. There was no sign of August anywhere. "Oh no," cried Sally. She started to run back to class. Then she stopped. Why was she so upset with August gone? Mrs. Henshaw would probably let Sally share one of the other chicks. She could make grass that looked just like everyone else. She wouldn't have to sit by herself at recess. She could stop being different all the time. Sally lined up to go inside with the other students. She waited to feel relieved. She wanted to feel happy. She kept waiting while she followed the other children down the hallway and back into the classroom. She waited while she went back to her seat, but she didn't feel happy or relieved. She felt sad and worried. What if August was scared and lost? He was out there somewhere all alone. Slowly she raised her hand. "Yes, Sally," asked Mrs. Henshaw. "It's August," said Sally. "He's gone." Then she burst into tears. The other children gathered around. They held their cheeks tightly. "Don't cry, Sally," they said. "We'll help you look for him." "Yes," Mrs. Henshaw firmly. "If there's one thing your chick is good at, it's standing out. We'll find him." She took down some of Sally's drawings and handed them out to the students. They searched the neighborhood around the school. They showed the drawings to everyone they met, but no one had seen August. Sally got more and more worried. What if they never found him? Suddenly they heard a scream. "Ah!" someone said. "What is that?" There was August trying to peck for bugs in someone's front yard. "August!" Sally cried. She ran over and threw her arms around him. "Our lawn," said the people whose lawn it was. "Thank you for finding our lost chick," said Mrs. Henshaw told them. "But what about these holes?" asked the lawn owners. Mrs. Henshaw handed them an orange cone. "Don't be difficult," she said, and then quickly led the children back to the school. Sally's chart that afternoon was the best one she'd ever made. Miss Henshaw gave it a big gold star. "Mine looks different," she said, and everyone smiled. The end.